Welcome, everyone. We usually meet in the community room, which is a lot more cozy. But it's nice to have this nice big room, and we're really thankful for all of you to be here. And we're thankful to the city for the great food. Isn't that wonderful to have supper? Firehouse Subs. And I have a few announcements here. We need to use microphones in here. And so when we have comments from the audience, we'll bring you a portable mic to talk into. Please, we are passing around clipboards. Stephen, would you please show those? And we have one clipboard for you to write down your service hours. Now, this is any service you do that makes the neighborhood look better from the street. You know, it's not if you go do somebody's dishes, that doesn't help. But if you do yard work for somebody in the neighborhood, write down the service hours. And we have a Google Doc where you can, do you want to explain that, Stephen?
Yes, for service hours, there's a QR code by the door that you can take a snap with your phone, and you can use that to record your service hours.
Yeah. So we will do major service projects as a district, and we'll record those service hours, but we can also count service hours that you just do independently, or if you know your youth group does, or things like that. If you record them, we can count them. And the reason they're important is that we can trade those service hours in for money with the city. And then we can use that money to improve our community. I should say, my name is Beth Hedgren. I'm the I've been the vice chair the last year of our district board. And just now I'm starting as co-chair with your approval. Also, we have a clipboard for signing up for on Grandview Hill. We do a Light the Hill on the south side of the hill, and it's beautiful at Christmas time, but we need people to help with that. So we have a clipboard where you could sign up for that, and Stephen's passing that around. And coming up in June, and we're going to talk more about that later on in the meeting, we're doing a big service project in Lions Park. There's a hillside on the west side of Lions Park that is a real fire danger. It grows wild. And we need to go in there every once in a while and clean out all the brush to keep it safe. And so a couple years ago, we did a project there, and we're going to do it again this June 7th, Saturday, June 7th. So sign up if you want to help with that. Okay, now let's get started. I'm going to introduce you to our executive board members. We have had some changes in the board. We rotate, people are appointed by the city council for a 4-year stint as working on the board. And we had 4 people that sort of aged out of that. And I want to thank them. One is Aaron Scablet right here. Thank you. And these others are not here. Mindy Jepson, Leah Duncan, Richard Jouse. But please, let's applaud them too. They did wonderful. Thank you. So happy. Mindy's on Zoom, so she heard you applaud. So now could the board members come to the front here and we have Jocelyn Bracken representing the North Park neighborhood, and she is new. So we're really happy to have her with us. Also, Stephen Burton, who is representing Grandview North, and he is new too. Mel Smith is also Grandview North, and he's been here for a couple of years. He's in his second half. Yeah, old. He's old. Kristen Kramer, representing Rivergrove, and she's new, and we're so happy to have her. Also, Melanie Epling, representing Grandview South with me. We work together for the Grandview South neighborhood, and she's new, and we're so thankful to have her with us. David Alderks is representing Carterville, and he's new and is doing already, he's jumped right in and done a lot, as all of these people have. And Brent Hall from the Rivergrove neighborhood. So please, let's have a round of applause for everyone. Stay up here for just a minute. Stay up here for just a minute. We, Rachel, and I also want to recognize Rachel, who is the city person who works with us, and she's like our den mother. She takes care of us and makes sure we do what we need to do. Anyway, we used to vote for the leadership positions and have you all vote for us for leadership positions on the board, but that takes a lot of time, and you probably don't even care who's doing the leadership. And so Rachel said we could just decide among ourselves. And so we have, and we want to put this forward for your approval. However, we have Eric AC, Chase, what? Eric Chase and I will be co-chairs. I've been a vice chair. You can only be a chair for 1 year, so now I can be a chair. And Eric has been a vice chair as well. And then we have David Alderks as a vice chair, and Kristen Kramer as a vice chair, and Stephen Burton as secretary. Do we have raise your hand if you approve? Thank you. We all approve. Okay, thank you. So we have that business taken care of for the next year. All right, let's go straight ahead to our department topics. We have, first of all, we have our fire captain, Jeanie Atherton, who will talk to us about Wildland Urban Interface Program and the Lions Park Hillside cleanup activity. And following her, we'll have David Michelsen do the update on our 8th North Bridge, the 820 North Bridge, which was going to be reconstructed this summer, and it's a big deal. So he's going to talk to us about that. And then we have the Parks Department. Who's representing the Parks Department? John Bunderson. There you are, John. Hi. Talking to us about the Provo River Trail, especially in the Moon River Drive area. We've been concerned, we asked him about that, and also the south side of Grandview Hill. So he's going to talk to us about that. Okay, Jeanie.
Okay, as Jeannie's coming up, just really quick, just a reminder to please be respectful of the Provo City staff. We're really thankful that they come to our meetings, and we want them to keep coming to our meetings. We have a very full agenda, so their contact information will be shown on screen. So we don't really have time for questions, but if you do have questions, please contact them later, and we'll.
Okay, thank you very much. Let me get this queued up and then we'll start. Okay, so I'm here to talk about the Wildland Urban Interface and how that relates to a lot of areas in our city that are at a higher risk for wildfire than others. So we're going to kind of basically talk about what is the Wildland Urban Interface, or the WUI. That's kind of the fast catchphrase. And then what is defensible space and why you need defensible space. And then last, we're going to talk about the Grandview Hill mitigation project that we're doing this June, and kind of some of the results we had last 2 years ago when we did it in 2023. So if you'll go to the next slide. So the Wildland Urban Interface, there's a fancy definition for it, but basically what it is you have undeveloped property next to developed property. So the photos you see up here behind me are some areas that I took photos of behind Timpview High School. So this is a perfect example of undeveloped property. This is the draw that goes right up behind Timpview High School. And there's a lot of overgrown brush, scrub oak, And right above it on every side of that hillside are homes. And so that's exactly the kind of areas that we're targeting in Provo, and they're all over the place. There's, Grandview Hill by Lions Park is another perfect example of a critical urban interface area that we need to do mitigation work on so that we can prevent a fire from extending from the park up into the homes. So what is defensible space? There's three big things that defensible space does. One is it creates a buffer between the surrounding environment and your home, meaning if there's a fire that's on property adjacent to yours, but you have defensible space around your home, that means that fire is not going to be able to reach your home as quick. So it creates a buffer to keep your home safer. The other thing it does is it slows and halts the ability of a fire to progress onto your property and get to your house. And lastly, what it does is it also protects the firefighters in our department because it gives us time to get in and respond. And if there's a chance that there is going to be a fire, but that fire is not going to grow as fast or be as dangerous, that provides a safer environment for us to come in and fight fire and to get it put out before we start losing homes. Next one. So I'm going to show a little video here about why defensible space is needed and why every person in the city needs to be aware and creating defensible space around their home. Okay, no worries.
Let's say a wildfire is burning in a nearby forest or shrub set and is now racing towards your community. You might be thinking that as long as your house isn't on the edge of town, you don't have to worry much about it. The reality is everyone who lives in this is at risk. Here's why. First, it's not the wall of flames from wildfire that's most likely to threaten your home. It's the millions of members that are buried on the land that are your main concern. High winds actually drive these burning embers up to 5 miles ahead of the fire. They can then land on your roof, in your leaf-filled gutters, sucking traumatic venting, or ignite hedges, wood piles, or outbuildings near your home. Secondly, there's a whole lot of fuel for fire in a house, and when houses do catch on fire, they can send flames up to 70 feet or more in the air, making even more embers that spread fire throughout the community. In densely built neighborhoods, fire could quickly spread from house to house or leapfrog other neighborhoods. How do you go about testing? This isn't fun. So even if your neighbors have done everything they can to prepare and protect their home, what you do or don't do around your home and property directly impacts them and the rest of your neighborhood. We're all in this together, and we're only as strong as our weakest link. The only way to prepare for wildfires is to work together as a community and get everyone's property ready to go long before the fire starts. And once we're ready, we've got to stay ready.
Okay. So that video is a perfect example of why we need pretty much every resident in Provo City, the ones in the urban interface areas and the residents down in town to do mitigation work and create defensible space around their homes. If you look back at the fires that just happened in California 2 months ago, that's exactly how they got so bad and traveled so fast and did so much destruction. They were wind-driven fires that caused the embers to move from the east side of the city towards the west side and blanket these entire neighborhoods with embers. And those houses that haven't done defensible space and created that around their homes are more at risk of losing their home. So that's one reason we're trying to get this program going, not just in the high-risk areas, but it's applicable to every resident in the city, no matter where you live. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the project we did 2 years ago. So we did it August 12th of 2023. And I have to give Beth huge thank you and for all her hard work in getting this organized. So we had 156 volunteers show up. We did over 300 hours of volunteer hours in that amount of time and hauled off 7 or 8 20-yard dumpsters full of debris. So this photo kind of on the left, the before kind of shows what it looked like. It was really overgrown on that hillside. And then the one on the right shows kind of how we went about getting over the fence and getting the debris moved out. It was a lot of people that showed up to volunteer, a lot of hard work, getting all that debris up and over the fence to where we could haul it off. And so I'm going to have you go to the next slide and show this video. This just is a little clip that shows how that hillside changed. So you can actually see up into that hillside. You can see the trunks of the trees. You can see the blue sky at the top of the hill. They removed a lot of debris in a very short period of time. And it was honestly one of the best mitigation projects and days that our crew has had in the last 3 years that we've been doing this. Okay, next one. So one thing I would urge you to do, and I just realized there's this same QR code to get signed up for the emergency alerts. There's a poster board outside, or you can scan this one right now. Get signed up for these alerts. They really help in a time of crisis for us to communicate with residents to let them know if they need to evacuate or any other actions that need to be taken. So please, if you can tonight, if you don't do it here, you can do it on your way out tonight. Sign up for the emergency alerts. And the next one. And then this is my contact information. You can take a photo of it. If you guys have questions or you want a home assessment, we can come out and do a free home assessment to let you know what you need to do to make your home safer. So feel free to reach out to me and we can get that scheduled. So any questions? Okay. All righty. I will. Let the next person say it.
Hi, everyone. I'm David Michelsen. I'm with the Provo City Engineering Division. And tonight I'll be talking about the Provo River bridge replacement at 820 North. Go to the next slide. So this is kind of going to be more of just a kind of an update status for your information, kind of where we're at. Right now, you kind of see where we're at. We're in the spring. We are still in design. We're a little bit behind where we kind of had originally hoped to be. We've run into a couple of issues in working with some other agencies that have pushed our timelines back. But we are currently working on 90% design right now, and we're hoping to finish that up in the next about a month. And then you can see that we'll bid April, May timeframe, and construction will start around June or July. And these are not hard firm dates. That is subject to change, but that is kind of what we're looking for this replacement. So we can go to the next slide there. As far as this, where we're at in the schedule. So right now we're working through the environmental process, specifically the Corps of Engineers and SHPO. It's the Utah State Historic Preservation Office. We are working with the Corps. They've got a 100-day process for permits. And so that's kind of a lot of what's pushing us back. That puts our permits into June to be able to go in and disturb the river at that time. So we are planning to be finished early April, pending that everything goes right. And then construction early May and starting June, July. So next slide. One thing that we wanted to bring though is our preliminary detour route. So as you can see up here, we are going to try to shift all of our traffic, obviously from 820 North. We are anticipating a full bridge closure through probably the duration of the project. And hopefully this isn't finalized, but we're going to try to make a really airtight traffic control plan so that we push traffic on 5th North or 5th West and Independence Avenue to 500 North. And that will be the main traffic flow for the duration of the project. And we'll be kind of working and looking for feedback as we go through the project to see if there are weak spots. We're trying to eliminate cut through the neighborhoods. And so that will be something that we'll look for feedback if we're noticing things so that we can kind of implement some temporary measures or some additional signage, whatever that may look like. So we're hoping to really push traffic away from the neighborhood, especially going north through Grandview and Rivergrove, I think. Yes, we're trying to prevent that from happening. So next slide, please. So project information. So we are still using the provoriverbridge.com website. It hasn't been updated in a while because there haven't been updates. But as we get closer to construction and get into that process, that will be where active updates are posted. So that will be closure dates. So when those are coming up, we'll have EMS boards up. We'll have that on our website of when those are to start. And we'll be working with our contractor on coordinating that. Our detailed detour routes when we have those finalized, and then any construction updates and what those may be involved with. So as we go through the process, though, our contractor will work heavily with the surrounding area, the neighborhoods, the homes directly around the bridge to be able to coordinate any work or traffic or vehicles or anything like that. So we'll be heavily involved as we move through the next months. We're looking forward to this project, and it will be a fun one. So please, if you have any comments or questions, please reach out to me. Here's my contact. And then there's the Provo River Bridge. That's through our consultant who's running that. So if you have any questions for them, you can send that through there as well. So appreciate it. Thanks.
So as John Bunderson is coming up, I just wanted to let you know, we first reached out to Chaz Addis, our city forester, about the Provo River Trail by Moon River Drive. And he said he didn't think it was a great idea to put any plants that would take supplemental water or additional care along the trail. He simply doesn't have enough time or bandwidth to maintain the trail above what we already do. And then John Bunderson called me and said, we got a whole plan for this trail. So he's going to kind of present kind of some of their ideas that they have. So I guess it all depends on who you talk to at the city.
Thanks for having me tonight. So the Provo City Parks and Recreation Department has sought and been awarded grant funds from Mountain Land Association of Governments to do some trail improvements from the north of Exchange Park all the way up to University Parkway. This slide is just, okay. Sorry, I see a blue line on this one. The improvements, when we're done, will look like those that have already been made north of University Parkway, which are demonstrated by the photo on the left or right, my left. And with improved lighting, a widened trail surface, and improved undercrossings at Columbia Lane and State Street. You can go next slide. So these are representative photos of what those improvements will look like there. The process where we're at right now is design is complete. We are just working with property owners to acquire the needed easements or additional property to accommodate a wider trail through these sections. The trail will also be straightened so there's not those tight hairpin turns going in and out of the undercrossings. So it takes a little longer to do the property acquisition than we always forecast, but we're well within the grant funding timeline, so the funds aren't at risk at this point. We are hopeful to be in there this winter to start the improvements. Our permits are conditioned on low river flows, primarily for those undercrossings, so we need to do our improvements during the winter months. There was a more specific question for Moon River. And I know a month ago, we had a discussion with the Bike Walk Provo group. Vern Kiesler, who's our transportation engineer, was present at that. He and I went to that intersection of, is it 1625 North and 300 West, where there's currently a pedestrian bridge that the Provo River Trail follows. And it connects that neighborhood there at Moon River to the Provo River Trail as it crosses to the west side of the river. That bridge will remain in place as part of our construction project, but the trail on the east side of the river will be removed. That narrow, bumpy section of trail will just be removed, and the trail will be relocated on the west bank where we are widening and improving lighting and width on that side. So there'll be a connection to the 300 West. Is it a bikeway, bike lanes? that come up and down north and south on 300 West. And Vern is looking at options for improving how that transitions to the Moon River bridge that's there. It's just not formalized how that happens. Our scope of work will be contained to the recreational trail of the Provo River Trail, and he's looking at that connection to the neighborhood. So I think that is where we're at with the Moon River section of the trail. We did meet today with the Branberry Apartments and also walk them through our project scope. They're very excited about the connection that it'll make to the Macy's and the shopping center there with Target and such for their residents, and open up the landscape in that area for the visitors on the trail to have a nice, comfortable recreational area along the trail. We're looking forward to these improvements to complement the ones that have been done further north at 2230 and those to the south along Independence Avenue and under the railroad tracks and such. It's all this is the last central component to bring that all together. So thank you so much for your time tonight.
And then really quick about the South Grandview Hillside. We reached out to James Cornaby of Parks, and he's the Parks and Grounds Superintendent. He says currently there are no major plans to renovate the South Grandview Hillside. General maintenance and upkeep of this area will continue as expected. They updated the irrigation system last summer, so we should see better results this year. They're going to replant shrubs as needed this spring and summer. And then we also reached out to Chaz Addis, the city forester, and he's going to send his park arboriculture crew out in the spring to check on that new and improved irrigation to see if it's well enough for trees. Unfortunately, Chaz got this amazing grant to plant trees in Provo, and that grant is frozen right now. So he apologizes. So the plants and shrubs will be up to James Cornaby and his crew.
Thank you, Rachel. That's a great update. Thank you, Rachel.
Oh, and I forgot to mention that Eric Chase is on Zoom, and our District 4 Counselor Travis Hoban is also on Zoom.
Hi, Eric. Hi, Travis. I want to thank these city employees for taking their time to come and talk to us, and for all the work they do to take care of our city and take care of our community and take care of us. I'm really excited about those plans for the River Trail. And I'm really excited to work with Jeanie again on our project at Lions Park. And David Michelsen has worked with us before. He put together installed some sidewalks. We used our grant money one year to install sidewalks at North Park. And he was so good to work with, and even gave us more than we had money for. He said, "I'll figure out a way to get these sidewalks done." And so these Provo staff are just great, and we need to appreciate all they do for us. Let's have one more round of applause for them. Let's go on now to the zone change presentations. First, we have Terry Cirac to talk to us about a project at 880 North in the North Park neighborhood. And then we'll go directly to Brandon Mills, who will talk about a plan for a 6 townhome development on Independence Avenue in the Grandview South neighborhood.
Right. Okay. And as they come up, just a reminder that the developers do not have to come to our meeting. So we really appreciate it when they do. It's our time to ask them questions directly and for them to speak to the residents. And both of these projects are still in the review process. They have, as far as I know, have not been scheduled for planning commission or city council meetings. So what they show tonight may change depending on city reviews.
My name is Terry Cirac, and we're trying to change a zone from an RC zone to a residential. Well, we're a residential conversion, but we'd like to go ahead and change it to a CR zone, which is the campus residential zone. The area that is in pink right now is the house that we propose to raise and then go ahead and put an 8-plex apartment complex. We're looking to put 6 1-bedrooms and 2 2-bedrooms in this area. Well, okay. And so, thank you. As you can see right now, with a little red dot, where we are right there, we are surrounded by apartment complexes on every side and also across the street. And so the days of family moving in there and having their little kid drive their big wheel down University Avenue is not going to happen. So that's what we plan to do, is to improve that residence and to change that zone. We have hired a local architect, Ken Harris Architects, who was on the design review committee, and he has come up with this design for us. And we're also working with Dudley Engineering, who is also a local engineer, and going over the plans. And so they've worked together hand in hand to come up with a plan for this complex. The elevations right now, the north elevation, which we have right here, that is what you'll see on 880 North, and we'll have a lot of large plants right here. And the city has required us, or planning has required us, to put a lot of storefront windows and whatnot in the area. We have the plan for brick and lap siding, and also the pop outs that we have will be this pop out right there will be a shingles. And so we have the design pretty much all done, just working with the planning commission at this time. And then this is a side elevation from the side and the end elevation. This is the house what we bought 3 years ago. And we have, when we were talking about removing trees, we've hired 7 Brothers Tree Company. We removed over 30 trees. Half of them were dead. And we've cleaned up. We have taken out over 7 40-yard dumpsters out of here, and 2 deer and 1 homeless guy. And so, and this is what it looks like currently. So we've done a lot of cleanup and for that, to make that neighborhood a little bit better. And we have a couple of students in there living right now. And so that's what we propose, is to have a 8-unit complex in this area. And again, we're surrounded by, if I could go, well, let's see, I'm messing that up. But what we have is currently right now is we have a lot of complexes that have already have approval for the zone with the campus zone. And the Metlers have developed, they have about 10 different parcels right there. So we're adjacent right to them. Our property butts right into them. So that's what we're looking for. Thank you, Rachel.
Does anyone have any questions? Let's start. It's okay. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Brandon Mills, and it's good to be with you to present tonight. I appreciate the invitation. Terry, nice job. Vast improvement on that home. That looks good. So just keep improving it, right? So we're here because of project that we're proposing. And to orient yourself, if you look at the map, the line is I-15 that you can see that kind of serpentines through the area there. And that bullseye is a little sliver of land that is left over that we would like to put a 6-unit development on. The current, let me go ahead and zoom in. And this is the sliver of land that's highlighted there. You can see it's very close proximity to I-15 and at the very north end of Independence Avenue. Let's see. This, to give you an idea on current zoning, this is where we are. This is the overlay of the current zoning. And we right now are, the property right now is zoned as manufacturing park, which seems to be a remnant of the zoning in this area and up through here. That zoning was changed and some townhomes were built there where it's Pro A12. What we're seeking is zoning for low density residential that would allow the 6 units to be built. This is an overview of the proposed townhome development. We would extend Independence Avenue and take it a little farther to the north, and we would end up with 6 units there. The 6 units, 6 units, there would be 24 parking spaces or 4 parking spaces per unit. So you have a 2-car garage that would accommodate 2 cars and then a private driveway that would accommodate an additional 2 cars. So 4 cars per townhome. Each of the units are 3 bedrooms, 2.5 bath. And the average square footage of the units, livable condition space would be 1,650 square feet. So this is the overall concept of the elevations. There would be the driveway down the middle. From the east side looking west, you would have 2 stories, so a main living level, and upstairs you would have the 3 bedrooms on each of the units. Then in the back of the units, you would have a garage level because of the slope of the hill. You're able to accommodate a garage on the lower level. You drive down the driveway and park on the west end of the unit. That is the information that I have at this point, and would welcome any questions that you have. Sure.
Is the city requiring you to have 24 parking spaces for 6 units? Are you comfortable with that? Imagine it makes it very difficult to pencil in. That's an awful lot of parking.
It certainly is an awful lot, but it well exceeds the requirement of the city's standard for parking for a project like this. But it is a good use of the space, and to be able to do that with a garage and also the driveway, it's very reasonable to do it in a development like this. Others, I would side with you 100%. It's hard to find good parking.
Just a question on Independence Avenue that goes
Sure.
through there. and maybe Travis will be listening to this, but you probably wouldn't be doing this, but is that Independence Avenue going to extend on the old railway north, join into Sand Hill? Do you have any idea?
So I've heard that there are plans to extend that, but I don't know timing. That's more of a city decision on when they would push that through. But I do think it would be beneficial when that does happen to actually have another path into the neighborhood.
If you're there when the railroad is going across in those roundabouts,
Sure.
there's no egress. And that would
Yeah.
give a north egress. To some it would be favorable, to others maybe not, but it would be nice to have another egress.
Yeah, and I agree with that. Other questions? Sure.
Would that also have kind of a social connection to the existing units that are to the south of that? In other words, there's a clubhouse and pool and things like that that the neighbors use there.
Sure.
Would that be included with that?
So they would be two independent developments, and this new development would not be associated with that development. In other words, it would be a standalone association for these 6 units. And so they wouldn't share in those amenities. Sure.
So I have a question about distance between the back of the property and the freeway.
Sure.
How far is that?
Well, there's an 18-foot driveway plus the private drive. So I don't know if you can pull up the one more. There you go. So, oops. Let's see. So this represents a deck that is built over the units, or built over the driveway, sorry. So your garage would split this lower level, and this would be the driveway. That driveway is approximately 18 feet. And then from there, you can see that's probably another 18 to 20 feet.
And then where does the freeway start? How far are you from back of that to the freeway?
So this right here is the line that splits us from UDOT. So the freeway is, there's a bit of room from the fence to the actual freeway, but it is kind of that sliver as it narrows down into that area.
And is there any attempt to do any kind of sound mitigation for those apartments that are going to be right close to the freeway?
Well, good question. As far as any sound barriers, we will actually address some of those issues in the way we design and build the homes. There are sound mitigation techniques that you can use as far as more robust windows, if you will, blown in bat insulation in the units. But as far as constructing a physical sound wall, I don't know if that's on the horizon that UDOT is considering that down the road. Typically, they'll do a long span. To do a short span, you don't really accomplish because the sound will travel around the ends of it. But I'm not aware of anything right off. Great questions.
We have a question on Zoom.
Sure.
This is going back to the Independence expansion. They're wondering who pays for the Independence expansion. Would that be the taxpayer or the developer?
So great question. That is a burden that is put on the developer. So as we expand that, that would be up to us to put in the curb, gutter, sidewalk, all the utilities, any storm drain, any sewer extensions, all of that would be on us. So not an impact to the tax payer. However, down the road, if the question is more on the expansion of Independence Avenue down the road, that I think would be something that the city later on would determine the feasibility of that. So, great questions. Another one right there.
So the natural landscape on the top there, this is your property as well.
Sure. Yes.
What are your plans for that natural landscape?
So there's not much that can be done with it to either irrigate it or to try and manicure it in any way. There's not a lot that can be done. And so rather than try to install something that would be like a burden for water use or something like that, our plan right now is to leave it undisturbed, maybe a little more kept than it is now, a lot more kept. So
not water it, but make sure it's under control and not becoming a fire hazard too.
Sure. Yeah.
Harken to our last presentation, earlier presentation.
Yeah. Any other questions? Well, again, I appreciate the opportunity and thank you.
We will have our beautiful Rachel come and report on behalf of the traffic department about a traffic study on 1750 West in my neighborhood. We had neighbors complaining about speeding on 1750 West. So Vern Kiesler, the traffic manager for Provo City, arranged for a traffic study to be done there. And then following that, then the board will present on the projects we've been working on.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. So Vern asked me to present this study. This is for 1750 West. This is a local street in the Grandview South neighborhood. And he always looks at the crash data first. So this is January 1st, 2022 through December 31st, 2024. 2 crashes were reported, one in 2022 and one in 2024 on those. And the crash, and these are the locations of the crashes, of the 2 crashes that were on this street. And then he talks about some definitions. The important one is this 85th percentile. A lot of times we give you an average, but the 85th percentile is a better representation of the speed that the vehicles are going. And so he put the monitor right there on 1750 West, kind of right in the middle of it. And the speed results, this was done end of January, beginning of February for, it was a Thursday through Sunday. The posted speed limit is 25 miles per hour. The average northbound speed was 29, but the 85%, again, that's the majority are going this speed or slower, is 34. Southbound average is 31. The 85% speed is 36. And the highest speeds recorded were right in the 40 to 50 mile per hour range. And again, this is a 25 mile per hour local street. The volume results, very, very low volume. So about 13 vehicles per hour northbound, 15 vehicles per hour southbound. So not a busy street compared to many in Provo. So the summary is, and there's a mistake on here, 2 crashes reported in 3 years. Posted speed limit is 25, average speed is 30, the 85% speed is 35, and the overall total vehicles were 2,139, which averages 28 vehicles per hour going in both directions. So these numbers do not warrant any changes. He has put up, there was a missing 25 mile per hour sign I think northbound, which he did replace. So that has been done recently, and he is providing the speed information to the Provo City Police Department for traffic enforcement. This is his information if you have any questions, but he has to follow the state regulations and it has to meet certain thresholds before he can make changes. And this one does not meet those thresholds. So therefore changes aren't warranted besides him replacing the missing 25 mph.
And I just want to say, Vern has been so responsive to our concerns about traffic in our district, and we really appreciate the work that he does for us. I think that, you know, it's the few times, no, not few, but it's too many, anybody going down there at 60 miles per hour. That's crazy. And we just keep hoping that people will follow the speed limit. All right. Can I have the board members sort of come up here and we're going to talk about the things that we've been working on, and I want you to know that these meetings are only 4 times a year, but your representatives are working all through the year to support our community and help things be better here. So here are some of the things we've been working on. Where'd that clicker go? Oh, it's up on the top. Oh, there it is. Oh, turn it up. Okay, here we go. What can we do? Oh, can you have a mic? Mel, do you want to come up and help me with this? You were at this meeting, right? After a tragic accident last fall at 1750 and State Street, we arranged to meet with UDOT and with the Provo City Traffic Manager, Vern, and actually there were like 15 people there around the table. We talked for an hour and a half about options for making that intersection more safe. There's been a lot of crashes there, and it was kind of determined that probably the protected left turn needs to be there. And so starting in January, they installed that. And now we have a protected left turn there. But now people are saying, oh, but we have to wait so long at the light. But maybe somebody won't be killed. And so we have to wait longer, and that's okay. But there is a problem with traffic piling up on the east side, you know, where Columbia Lane is, that funny intersection there, by Quick Quack. And so Vern is looking into that problem to see if there's a way to maybe adjust the left turn times on that coming from that direction to make it better.
So just some additional information. The left turn lane is in effect, or the left turn, protected left turn is in effect southbound Monday through Friday, 3 to 7 p.m. Saturday, 11 to 8. Northbound is Monday through Friday, 11 to 7, 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. and Saturday, 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. Outside those times, it goes back to the flashing yellow.
And just want to warn everybody to be really careful turning left on that flashing yellow, because it's hard to judge speeds as people come down that hill. And so really be conservative in deciding when to turn. The Enigma Event Center, David, do you want to come up and help us with that? Do you want to address it?
I was there.
So at the Enigma Dance Center there by Ranchero Markets, on Fridays they were having dances that were going till about 2 in the morning, and they were having an inordinate amount of police activity in the area. When they compared it to other locations, it was at least 10 times more police activity at that event for 4 hours a week. Had underage drinking, drug deals going down, assaults happening. So the Provo Police Department petitioned that the permit be revoked so that this would not be in the neighborhood. And after an hour and a half meeting, at least on just that one topic, the Planning Commission did decide to pull the permit for the dances happening there. The Enigma Center still is there for events, but they can't, as far as my understanding, can't have the dances there anymore. And so that's what happened there.
It's very important that representatives from the neighborhood go to the Planning Commission when there are things like this being considered. And we're really thankful for David and Sarah who went and represented Carterville. Rotary Park trees. Let's see that.
Okay, some of you might be familiar, if you've been in the area for a while, that in the Rotary Park along 1500 West, there was a long row of evergreen trees, and whenever there's a large windstorm, a few more of them fall over. It got to the point where there's, I think, only 3 left. The southern part of Rotary Park was recently renovated. Pickleball courts, new tennis courts, new bathroom, new playground equipment. But the northern part where these trees are, it hasn't really had any changes. So we, at the all district meeting earlier this year, Mel Smith and I went and talked to the Provo Parks about the idea of maybe having some trees replaced. Also, some of the neighbors have expressed interest in additional parking because it gets extremely busy with sports games, and both sides of 1500 West have cars jammed all over the place into the neighborhoods too, because there's not enough parking in the park. And people have expressed interest about a walk path around the park and other things like that. And what we basically got from the Parks Department is there are a lot of parks in the city, and they're being improved in a rotating basis. And since Rotary was done quite recently, it'll be a while before it comes back around to Rotary's turn again. However, they have a master plan that I looked up. It's on the website. And a few things listed in the master plan were replacing the bathroom and the park equipment, both of which they did recently. So my plan is to gather ideas from the community as to what we would like to see there, and then get it to the
no, they're doing that. Lions Park Hillside project, we'll be doing it. Oh, I didn't put the date up here. June 7th. June 7th, it's a Saturday. We thought we'd try to do it before it got too hot. Last year we did it in August and it was really hot. And so we're going to do it in June. And this time we're going to work from the north end towards the middle. And we would love all your help, and sign up on that sign up sheet if you're willing to help us with that. And Light the Hill, Melanie.
So this started in 2020. You guys have probably all seen it. The hope with that is to get more neighborhood input on what we want that to look like. That's why we went around with the little sign up. Me personally would like to see it a little more professionally done and more involvement. It's kind of landed on 2 of us in the last couple of years. So anyone that wants to sign up, make it look pretty. We've got, the city to support us if we get it signed every year to have a contract that will take them down and care for this stuff. So I don't know what else to say about that right now. We'll get to it later.
And that, of course, is in December. It's for Christmas. And a neighbor it had made this beautiful Joy to the World sign, which we have on there. We've got 2 of them there, and donated his own materials and his time and talents to do that. And we just it's really nice when the neighborhood comes together. to try to make it a nicer place to be. Matching grant projects. As we've said, there's this $7,500 that the city will give us in exchange for our service hours, which is a great deal. And we can put in a proposal for how we want to use that money. And the proposal is subject, we can't just use it willy-nilly. It has to be approved. You have to put in a proposal, it has to be approved by the city. But here are some things we're thinking about to use that money on. We can buy a Your Speed Is sign and install it on a street where we're worried about speeding. In Grandview South, we think, and North, we think about 1460, which is pretty busy artery and they're speeding. I don't know, in other neighborhoods, maybe another place. So for about $3,500, we can buy one of those signs and have it installed. And I kind of like that one. And then maybe we could help the Parks Department with some of the improvements to the Provo River Trail there. Lighting or something like that. Maybe we could put the money towards that and get it done sooner. At one of our earlier meetings, somebody came and suggested a chess table at North Park. And that would be cute. Yeah, we could have a chess table. And they cost about $2,000 to $3,000. So, and then we'd have, people could bring their own chess pieces, or it's right by the rec center, and we could even have, so they could check out a chess set from the rec center. We need a spotlight on the Grandview Hill sign. It only costs $30, but it keeps being stolen. So we've replaced it about 3 times. And so that was something that came up on Facebook when we asked what people wanted to have fixed. And we would love to fix that, but we've got to figure out a way so it doesn't get stolen. I don't know. So anyway, what other ideas do you have? What do you want to see happen in our neighborhood that we could spend money on? Yes, let me bring you the mic.
I'm Adrienne Woods. I live up on Grandview Hill. I'm actually the chair of the community council for Westridge Elementary. So we've talked a lot about the 1460 Your Speed sign. And Vern did agree to install one. Well, he's supposed to heading eastbound. We've done a lot of improvements with that. We've gotten the lights down at the Jordan Avenue crossing, the flashing lights. They're just constantly flashing for the traffic to slow down because there's a crosswalk there. We also got 2 new flashing heading eastbound lights for the school zone right there. So I personally, for me, with lots of small people walking to school, there is a heavy foot traffic, kids going to school on that 1750 right there and 1460. If we could get the Your Speed signs in both directions, I think that would be great. Right now, I know the traffic city, he said that it would qualify. I think he said it heading westbound. So I need to follow up with him to make sure that that is still in the plan to be.
So the city might pay for it, and we wouldn't need to use our money.
That is kind of what he said. I need to follow up and clarify that at our last meeting. And so he said that that is a possibility. He just had to fix the lights going the other direction. So I need to follow up with that. And then for the speed zone, for the school zone. But if he would pay for one of those, then maybe we could get one going the other way and still have
that'd be great
for more money.
That'd be great. Thank you for that input. Thank you. Yes.
As far as the speed signs, I know we just had up on Carterville, they did a study up there because the traffic can get really fast up there, but I've not heard anything about that or if they were going to do your speed signs. Speed is an issue on Carterville.
Carterville Road needs it too.
It's an issue.
Okay, great. Stephen, you're taking notes on all of this, right? Thank you. Stephen's our intrepid secretary.
As long as we're on the subject, several people in my neighborhood responded with concern about 1700 North which is only in the Grandview North neighborhood. So of course we'd be the ones concerned about it. It has some roundabouts, but in the long straight stretches on that super wide road between the roundabouts, people pick up pretty high speed. One thing that I had read about is sometimes striping slows the traffic down because it looks like the lanes are narrow instead of this huge wide empty street. That's something we could talk to the roads department about that streets, but that's just something that they are concerned about, is speed on 1700 North.
Thank you, Stephen. Okay, get that into the notes. Over here.
Okay, we have on Zoom wondering about an ADA drinking fountain at Lions Park or making what Lions Park more wheelchair accessible.
That's good. Well, and Mel looked into getting water fountain at, do you want to speak to that for a minute or?
Well, it's been a while.
It was an
since-
ADA though.
Well, it actually, the one that we were looking at did have both. It had a regular one and down lower, it had a small, shorter one. And I think they were a couple $1,000s.
And then the Parks Department didn't think we could get it installed.
Well, is there any indication of where they were thinking on Lions Park? We had originally talked about putting one over by one of the smaller pavilions. I think there's one at the large pavilion, but there's nothing over there on the further, I think they're south, the pavilions to the south. And we were investigating one there. No indication.
Well, we will look into that. That's a really good suggestion and important. Okay, any other suggestions for using our money? Yes, back here.
I have a question about Carterville Park. I've lived in Carterville neighborhood for 10 years. I had no kids when I moved in. I now have had 4 kids. And our park has had a volleyball net put in, which is cool.
That was our project last year.
I like it. I'm wondering about swings. Why do we not have any swings? Have we looked at swings? Because that park is so small, so tiny. Okay, money, great. I would love to submit that as a proposal for this grant.
We'll put it on the list. We'll put on the list. I will have to see what swings cost. That's a good idea. What else? Any other ideas for your neighborhood? Great. We actually will need to make a decision we need to get our proposals written by the end of March, right, Mark? No? So we need to decide. Let's just get a raise of hands.
We had one more online, safe access to the Provo River from Macy's.
Oh, yeah. Aaron?
That, Rachel, that safe access to Macy's should be part of the but Parks needs to be reminded of that, and Public Works needs to work with Parks to make sure that that happens. This is I mean, that would be a very expensive project. It's something like this can pay for it. And it's something that Parks and Public Works should do as part of the work that they're doing. And it's related to what they're talking about on Moon River as well.
Thank you, Aaron. All right, so let's just get raise of hands. How many think a Your Speed Is sign would be a good use of our money? And to be determined where it goes. Keep them up, keep them up.
Thank you.
Great. Let's just not worry about the Moon River section because it sounds like they can't do anything on it till winter and that they've got a plan. They've got a plan there. So chess table, anybody interested in chess table? No. Maybe one. Okay. Let's not worry about the spotlight on Grandview Hill because that's $30 and people being honest. Do you want to read back to us some of the other suggestions that we had? Oh, the drink. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay, we had the ADA drinking fountain in Lions Park.
Okay, any hands on that one? One. No, just to get an idea of what the interest is, because you like that idea. Okay, there's 1, 2, 3. What?
Hands high, please.
We got one of them. Yeah, you can vote more than once. Yeah. Well, how strong, how much you would like to have this? Because actually this is not a binding vote. It's just to give the board an idea of what the residents want.
Wheelchair accessibility in Lions Park.
Wheelchair
right?
accessibility in Lions Park. There again, that might be something that Parks might have in their plan. Did you get Rachel's hand over there?
Yes.
Mhm. And what else? Another Zoom vote.
Swings in Carterville Park.
Swings in Carterville Park. Oh, wow.
I just looked it up. A swing set is $91,550.
91.
That is for the material, shade, and surfacing. That is from the Parks Department.
$100,000. Well, we can have our wishes. But what we'll do is we'll put it in our report that you guys all would love to have it, and we'll talk to the Parks Department and see if they can put it in their plans someday, maybe for your grandchildren.
I am not staying in the rental
Do you want to, now that people know they can vote twice, do you want to repeat the your speed sign?
Yeah. Yeah.
Just a late entry. When I was working with the neighborhood committee, we put the sign, "Welcome to Grandview" on the south side. And have you talked about putting one on the other side? But just put another sign, "Welcome to Grandview," coming up the Grandview. Yeah.
Where we put it, really. Yeah, because it's just private property there, unless we could put it on the school property. I don't know. But yeah, we'll put it on the list. Do we want to vote again for the your speed is, since you know you can vote more than once? Okay, how many for your speed is?
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Is that everything? Okay, we've got a straw poll here, and we'll put together some proposals and see what we can do. Thank you so much. Let's go ahead now, and are we to public comment now? Yeah, now's the time that we always leave at the end for you guys to say whatever you want to say about our community and how we can make it better. So I think,
Gentlemen, yes.
Okay. Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah.
So this, it's posted up here. Many of you maybe listen to the news or whatever, or TV shows, and they talk about someone's going to steal your property. They're going to get your deed to your property. They're going to get mortgage your house, et cetera, et cetera. So it is a real thing that happens. It's never happened in Utah County, because I talked with the recorder's office, but it has happened in Millard County. So all of you who have property, whether you own it or not, you have a deed. Pardon? Real estate. You have a home, you have personal property, you have a deed, and it's registered with the county recorder's office. So what they advertise on TV is for you to pay for a service. But as I've investigated this,
every county in Utah has a thing called Property Watch. And Property Watch is a service that's free, provided by the county recorder's office. And the directions are up there how you can register your property. So if you're familiar, you get your tax rolls and it has your property number on it. The county recorder's office just puts on that property deed anything that comes in, like you get solar, or you get a second mortgage, or you get their job is just to attach something to that deed. They don't monitor it or anything. So if you sign up for Property Watch, if anyone puts anything on your property, you'll get an email. And it will say, someone has done this. If you're familiar with it, that's fine. But if you're not, then you can stop it. The county recorder's office takes a while to do anything with that action. So you have time to respond. Just need to read your emails. Does that make sense? So it's a real thing. I would suggest everybody tell your kids, families, register your property, and you'll be notified if anyone wants to mess with it. Okay.
Anybody else? Oh, Aaron.
So I have a question to clarify the vote for a speed sign. I think a speed sign would be great. We got speeding problems all across the city. But if the city will pay for the ones on Grandview Hill, I think the one on Carterville has a greater need. Let's get the city to pay for stuff and then only pay using our matching grant.
Comment over here.
Okay, on Zoom, it says, we have been promised crosswalks and the replacement or the fixing of sidewalks on 300 West between 1230 North and 1500 North. They're wondering if anyone has heard anything or kind of what they can do.
To ask David Michelsen about that. So let's put that in our notes to follow up on that. Is there anything else on Zoom?
I have a comment because I live in this district. We have a opportunity to help our community out and also earn service hours for our matching grants. So the community garden cleanup is happening March 29th. There's a few flyers down in the back. It's from 9 to 11 a.m. It's a Saturday. This is the community garden at 811 North, 600 West. And they park at the church across the street. There's muffins and juice. This is being done by BYU Civic Engagement and BYU Sustainability. Provo Parks and Rec will be there with tools and dumpsters. And this garden is run by the Community Action Services and Food Bank. And if you remember, they did a presentation to our district a few meetings ago. So this is a community garden. And if people have excess vegetables, then those go to the food bank to be handed out to people in our community. So it's a really great project, but they have zero money to run this. And so they really need help. So if you're looking for something to do March 29th, they would need some help, and I'll be there to count volunteers to have it go towards our service hours.
Jill, you're always looking out for us. Any other comment? Give us ideas of what we can do to help our community. Well, go ahead, Sandy.
I'm not sure if you want me to bring this up or not. You were going to come and take a look. But on the southeast side of Grandview Hill, I mean, there's always the projects that go on by Lions Park, but nothing on the hill that goes around further. There's 20-something residents along there that there are tons of dead trees, dead everything along there, which is a real fire hazard. And it seems kind of strange that they always concentrate just in one spot.
We need to address that for sure. Now, you mean like in back of Grand Avenue? Oh, okay. You need to take me on a field trip. And, and we will look into that. Thank you. Yeah.
So I can't address like the whole hillside, but I know the fire marshal has worked with Freedom Prep Academy that has a significant amount of hillside south of Lions Park. And they've actually just recently cleared out a bunch of brush in that section. So that doesn't necessarily like solve what you're talking about, but it works towards that same goal of having the entire hillside taken care of. So we've got at least one more section addressed.
West of the school. And so we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. I think access may be a problem. Because the thing with Lions Park is that we have access through the park. But if it's on a busy street, I don't know if we can do it, but we'll see what we can do. Thank you, Sandy. Any other comments? Thank you so much for coming out. It is so important that we come together as a community and do what we can to help each other and make our communities even better than they are. Really appreciate it. Thank you.